let's go more into like some of the risks for low testosterone. What are some of those risks that people should see? A lot of I know when you talk about testosterone, especially in the gym space, people only think muscle, sex, guy.
Yeah.
That's it. No, they don't even use other words. There's no punctuation. It's just
Yeah.
muscle, sex, man.
Yeah.
But what else are people either losing out on when their test is or testosterone is low?
So big thing is obviously like we talked about before that you said the drive, kind of the motivation.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we think about is, yeah, okay, your sex life, all that stuff, but you also have like as you age, your test is going to go down. For women, especially, it's going to be really important with their bones and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you see a lot of more health benefits from that. The biggest thing that I see in men is mental health. I
Mm,
mean, yes, physically aside, like, yes, there are physical, ailments or whatever, but the biggest thing is if you can get somebody to physically feel better and mentally feel better and provide them with the ability to have that drive, and get them to a gym and get them to someone like you, Chris, who can work with them and they can start to see those results and feel
mm,
that difference. To me, that's bigger than anything because you're going to hit on the mental aspect of it and then you're going to hit on the physical aspect of it. And so for me, that's the biggest driving factor for me to give somebody TRT or for me to kind of talk to someone about TRT, because it is a cascade of events.
yeah.
And, I have put overweight men on TRT before in an effort to get them into the gym, to give
Yep.
them the drive to go to the gym, not just sit at home and be on TRT. That's not the people I'm talking about. It's about getting them to feel the energy to go to the gym. Then when they go to the gym, they start seeing some results a little bit more because they have normal, levels, maybe getting more engaged with other activities at the gym or community members and stuff like that. And I mean, it's really hard because a lot of people, especially since COVID, gyms have been closed, people are working from home, the socialization isn't there. And so I feel
Yeah.
like that is why I've used TRT in an adjunct of therapy with weight loss and diet and exercise
Yeah.
for that purpose.
Yeah. And so man, what you just said, like that's what my 2021 was just like
Yeah.
I knew something was wrong because like getting off of the couch mentally was work. It
Yes.
was it was
Yeah.
so, oh man, it was taxing. I had an issue with just at the time I was still military, and I was like, hey, look, I need to get my blood work done, and they were like, no. Um, would you say that right now the medical community is still a little bit lagging, or are they starting to catch up? Yeah.
They're really behind. They're really, really behind. And I was very skeptical when I had patients come in. They're like, "Oh, I'm on testosterone, or I'm on this," about it. But after meeting with these people, both men and women, it's been so eye-opening how this has changed their life,
Yeah.
how they have really done, really, really well with it. And some people it hasn't. I mean, it's not a magic thing. Some people,
Right.
it's just not the right for whatever reason. I don't know if it's mental, I don't know if it's physical. It doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But I would have to say that way overwhelming majority is like, this is really, help me.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, well, you really don't need it, but you really do. And I think that they don't take into account that holistic kind of, they just look at the TRT and they look at like the medical aspect of it and the numbers and all this, but they miss that whole other thing. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're way undershooting. Like I know that the VA won't provide it, or at least they weren't at the time, unless somebody was like less than 150.
Yeah.
Um, And then I've had patients come to me with less than 150, 70.
Yeah.
And the VA will give them like, they'll dose them, but they dose them like totally inappropriately. They'll give them like, there's, uh, they'll be like, oh, okay, take like, you know, 50 milligrams a week. And you're like, but that's like, but
Yeah.
what? Like, that's not going to do anything. Like, it's
All
not
right.
going
So
to
good.
keep anything.
Now I made it to 150. Great.
Well, no, or like what they do, which even makes me more angry, is they will give them an injection. So a lot of my older guys that go to the VA,
Mhm.
they'll come in and get their injections done. Okay. And then they're like, oh, yeah, they gave me like, 35 milligrams or 50 milligrams. And then every month I come back. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're taking like 50 at one time or 100 at one time for a month. So you're getting this like surge and then
Yeah.
you're just
Oh
crashing.
my gosh. Because, like, depending on the ester, the half life is still only like,
Yeah.
on the fast end, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 days, and on the long end, maybe 10.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like for like women or men the pellets. I don't like pellets